Hello collectors and welcome to my review of the Ultraseven Renewal version. This figure is an updated version of Ultraseven in the Ultra Act line and has been reissued a few times. But is it really worth the purchase? Well, let's take a look and see whether or not he's worth adding into your collection. Starting off with the paint and sculpt, Ultraseven is really solid. The paint is generally nicely applied and simplistic. The only issues to report are small and only really noticeable close up. Which is good because some of the uses of the sculpt, namely Ultraseven Dark, released right before this reissue, had bleh paint. Starting with the head, you can see some mold lines which may bother some, but it's a minor issue overall. The green on the forehead is neatly applied, and the translucent eyes are very well done. The armor on the chest has neatly applied paint, though there does appear to be a few issues with the mold removal process, as it was left with a few minor bumps, the most noticeable one being right there where my thumb was. The bicep sculpt in paint, keeping a similar design to the shoulders, is executed even better than the chest. However, you may notice some small issues right up here, closer to the top of the shoulder, where the paint is starting to come off right here because it rubs up against the chest armor. Moving on down, the stripes on Ultraseven are applied nicely, though Bandai wasn't able to paint inside the sculpt lines entirely too well. This is mostly noticeable up close, though this may bother some. Some notable points are right up here where you can see the paint is going outside the line, and over here where the paint isn't even entirely in the sculpt markings. Continuing down to the thighs and the lower portion of the legs, you can see similar paint applications. And flipping over to his backside, you can see he has a nicely sculpted Ultra booty. Now, of note here, there are some slight paint scratches on the top of the thighs, mostly where the thighs connect to the hips. This is probably because it's rubbing up against the sculpt, as you can sort of see here when you move Ultraseven's thighs around, so make sure you're careful with that. And last but not least, the feet and ankle area, where you can see he has some nicely sculpted wrinkles. Pretty cool. All in all, only small issues to report with Ultraseven in terms of sculpt and paint. He looks really great. Moving right along, Ultraseven's articulation is pretty similar to your average Ultra Act Ultra. However, there are some slight limitations to this one, either because of the sculpt or because of the engineering of the joints. So, like all standard Ultra Acts, head is connected to the neck on a ball joint. So you can get to look up about that far, down about that far, spin it around. The shoulders are in a ball hinge combo with a ball joint inside of the body and a hinge right at the shoulder. But unfortunately, as you can see here, the armor here on the chest of Ultraseven sort of blocks the articulation because he can't raise his shoulders up all the way. But fortunately, there is an accessory which takes care of this for the most part. We have a bicep swivel right here just beneath the shoulder joint, which is awesome. Double hinge elbows, as usual. The wrists are a ball hinge combo, as you would normally expect. However, they are rather small, so range of movement, it's a little bit restricted, but not too much. We have the typical ab crunch here for a ball joint, which you can spin Ultraseven around, though you have to be careful. Might scratch some paint if you do that. Then we have the waist joint, which is also a ball joint. Hips are your typical pull-down style hinges, with a ball joint in the thigh, so this way you can spin Ultraseven's leg around, and then a swivel where the ball joint is connected in for the thigh, so this way you can twist his thighs around. Knees are your typical double hinge joint, as you can see here. Nice bending option. The ankles are the same sort of joints, which are for the wrists. You have a ball hinge combo there. Unfortunately, ankle rocker movement, it's pretty limited because Ultraseven has pretty large feet, and as you can see here, there is a toe hinge. Moving right along to accessories, as you can see here, Ultraseven comes with a lot of them. Mostly hands, though. First up for the accessories is a swappable part for the chest armor. As you can see here, it has some folds in it, which is pretty cool. Now, in order to put this on, you have to be very careful and pop the armor off back here just behind the shoulders. And then there's a hole in the chest, and that comes off. Be careful. As you can sort of see here, on this part here, the paint might be stuck to it, so it'll give you a little bit more of a problem popping it off. If you're having a hard time, don't force it. Use a hair dryer or hot water to loosen it up. And all you do is you plug the new piece on where the old parts were. And there you go. Now, articulation, like I said, frees it up just a little bit more, which is always a good thing. Now, aside from the pre-equipped fists, Ultra 7 comes with some splayed out hands, 2 hands with fingers pointed out like so this way you can pose him firing the Imurium beam. You get this bent hand that comes with Ultra 7, and unfortunately, though there is a little hole in the hand that makes it look like Ultra 7 can hold something, there is nothing in this specific set which Ultra 7 can hold. An alternate set of fists, so this way he can hold the eye slugger. And finally, another hand with him holding up the peace sign this way, or the British version of the middle finger, if you want to go this way. And swapping out the hands is very easy to do. However, you need to be careful though, because the pegs in which the hands pop onto might break if you force it too much. To swap out the hands, all you need to do is just grab the currently equipped hand, so to speak. See the peg there? Grab the new hand at the wrist, be gentle, pop it on, and there you go. Now you can pose Ultra 7 differently. And speaking of the eye slugger, there are some option parts for Ultra 7 here. Now, there is this blade on his head, for those of you who don't know what the eye slugger is, that can be removed. Now, be careful. This is hard plastic, and surprisingly, Ultra 7's head is actually much softer than the eye slugger. You can see it wiggling around here. However, I had to really fight with mine in order to get this to come off, like so. If this is giving you trouble, don't be an idiot and force it, or you will snap this, and then you're going to have to buy a new Ultra 7. Heat it up with hot water or a blow dryer and slowly wiggle this out. Now, why would you want to wiggle this out? Well, for 2 reasons. One, you can pose Ultra 7 throwing this, or you can pose Ultra 7 with this bigger eye slugger piece, which doesn't fit into the grooves on his head. Well, it does, but it's not a very good fit. Now, they didn't stop here for eye slugger effect parts. You get this really cool slashing effect part for the eye slugger, and not only is this compatible with Ultra 7's eye slugger, but it's also compatible with Ultra 7 Dark's eye slugger. Now, how do you use it? Well, you'd think you just go ahead and shove it in here and la-da-dee-la-da-da. No. There is a little piece here that pops off, and you line up the eye slugger with the sculpt that is inside of it. See? Fits in just fine. And then you take this little piece here, you pop it back on, and then you gently slide it into Ultra 7's hand here, like so, and there you go. Now you can have him slashing up kaiju like no one's business. Now, before I continue on to the last effect part included into this set, I want to go over Ultra 7's back. At the top here, there is this little piece of plastic which you can remove, so this way you can put on the brother's mantle, if you would want to. Easy enough. I don't have one, so I can't show you that process. But down here, in the middle of his back, there is this little piece of plastic which comes off, and you can plug in this Tamashii Stage Act adapter. So you can use a support arm with Ultra 7 without using a claw. You just stick the peg right in the hole, and you're good to go. That sounded kind of X-rated. Now, the last effect part included in this set is this gorgeous wide shot, and all it is the chopping hand of Ultra 7 casted alongside this beautiful translucent orange plastic, which it looks a little bit more yellow in the center, and getting Ultra 7 to use this attack is really easy. All you have to do is pop the right hand off of Ultra 7, line up the peg with the hole in the wrist, get him posed just right, and boom, now he's ready to fight some kaiju. Now, unfortunately, this version of Ultra 7 does not come with the Imurium beam, but you get the hands for it. However, if you get the Ultraman Dark and Ultra 7 Dark web-exclusive set, smooth move on that one, Bandai, you do get the Imurium beam effect part. So, it's not included in this set, but if you really want it, there is a way you can get it. I just included it here because I just said I would include it in my Ultraman Dark and Ultra 7 Dark review, and if you really want to see how you attach this together, because it's a real pain, go ahead and click on the card in the top right corner, and it'll take you right to that review. So, in short, for the accessories of Ultra 7, there are many of them, they are really cool, and realistically speaking, you can create pretty much any scene you want from the series with this renewal figure. Moving right along the size comparison, you'll see that Ultra 7 is about the standard size of your Ultra Act Ultra. First up, here he is alongside some of NECA's Pacific Rim figures. Now some SH Monster Arts from Tamashii Nations. Some Ultra Kaiju in the Ultra Act line. And finally alongside some other Ultras. So, like I said, about the same size as all the other Ultras in the line. So, buy it now, skip it, or wait for a deal. Paint and sculpt are just fine and dandy, with only a few issues which vary from figure to figure. Articulation is good, though it is a bit restricted, and accessories are aplenty, though it is a shame we don't get everything in this figure. We have to buy others. All in all, a solid purchase, and any fan of Ultra 7 will be happy with this figure. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. If you'd like to view some of my other videos, go ahead and click on the pictures in this video, and you'll be taken right to them. I've hand-selected them just for you. Be sure to check the description for both more information and some links to help me out, including a link to my Patreon. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.